The watch. I'll read through my thread again when I have some free time. I am confident that the 2-month change will be amazing, and I could not have done it without all of the fantastic support and assistance I have received from all of you. My comment, I believe the Opus has emerged from his situation. Have you guys prepared a statement for Opus? Remark below, subscribe, and bellow, and never forget that every day is a new day. I need some support because my wife cheated on me. I've been watching this channel for the past week or so, and I came across yet another story of a cheated wife. We've been married for 17 years, have kids who are 15 and 13, and are currently going through a rough patch. On January 19th, I started to suspect something was wrong with my wife because she had been texting a lot over the previous few months. She told me it was because she started a new job and it was how they always spoke when I inquired why. I examined her phone because I finally had to know. I eventually came to the conclusion that I would rather be with you so we could cuddle. I was ruined right now and had no way to move on. Looking back, I wish I had taken notes right away on everything. Perhaps instead of reading them correctly, document them. I stormed upstairs right away and faced her. She stated that it had been happening for around a month without refuting it. She, my wife, and our 2 kids left the house because her sister was in town. I cut her cell phone off in order to avoid communicating with the OM. The OM is wed and has 2 kids. We had gone on a few double dates, so I knew them, but I didn't have OMW's contact information, so I looked her up on Facebook and instructed her to give me a call right away. On January 20th, I switched her cell phone back on because she needed it and was departing for a work trip that afternoon. I texted her to let her know that we could still communicate and to let her know it was back on. She didn't. I remained silent. I informed the OM's wife about the affair over the phone. She hung up and dropped the phone. Subsequently, she informed me over the phone that she had ejected him during a heated altercation in which one of their daughters had really struck him in the face. Still, her sister dropped the kids off, so they are back at home. Additionally, the OM's wife tells the swim team where they met about the affair. On January 21st, Jane, I apologize. I promise to do better. Please check back later. The incorrect action, although I was unaware of these forums at the time. Not a reply. 22, and I had intended to speak with her that evening as she was coming back from her trip. Rather, I get an email informing me that she won't be staying at our house. I made the wise decision to let her know that her actions had repercussions, and adjusted the garage code, zeroed out, and changed the locks. I also forwarded our family and friends our exposure letter. 23. The kids must have told her that I changed the locks when she picked them up for school. The following day, she was heading out on another work trip, and required additional clothing. She called and said she needed to pick up her clothes, and that's just how it happened. I told her that when I got home from work after 6, she could come grab them. 6. When 0 arrives, her sister calls to let me know that she won't be picking up her clothes. 24. I was shocked by what I discovered when I decided to look through phone records to see when the affair had started. It had begun in the latter part of June. That's when texting really took off. It had to be the pot for that 1 month. I sent her an email letting her know that I was disgusted with her for using my support for her job to further her own agenda and that I knew when it began. I claimed that she was the one who destroyed the marriage, and she alone. I added that it was our final exchange of messages. I couldn't do it at the moment. There will be more on that later. On the 25th, I sent her an email letting her know that I expected to handle all parenting duties and requesting her to refrain from scheduling activities for the kids without first talking to me. I needed to make plans for my son's transportation to the hockey game. When I eventually gave another parent a call, I discovered that she had planned a sleepover for him. In response, she said that the children would remain with both of us throughout this difficult time. I first said no, they need a familiar home for the time being. It was stated that she was lodging at her mother's home. I concurred under one condition. He was not present. She concurred. While I was at the hockey game, I got an email asking if she could come by the following morning to get some clothes. I replied that she may pick them up tonight as the door was opened. Her clothes were gone when I arrived home after the hockey game. 26. We each had an event that we had to go to. I spoke with her for a little while and told her that as long as she ended the relationship, she could come home at any moment. I handed her the paper outlining the repercussions after she expressed her desire to not return home. I still love her and I know we both made mistakes, but I'm prepared to try again, was the gist of the consequences letter. As long as the is in the picture, we cannot move forward. She needs to cut off all communication and cease seeing him. There will be NC between us until then. 30. I'm not being nice to NC at all. She acknowledges in an email that she read my letter and knows this is difficult for me, but she is and has been in a different place for a while. Later this week, I will receive service, and she is proceeding with the divorce. I reply that I agree to proceed with the divorce and that I understand. She has caused a great deal of grief and suffering, and when I receive them, I will have my attorney evaluate them. I gave her my thanks for the warning. Her sister called in the evening to ask if they might come over and get a few more items. As I stated I would be home, I agreed. I wanted to let her know that Project's confidence and I were both fine. I helped her sister take out a few boxes, talked with the kids for a few minutes, and said very nothing to her. I believe I did it well. Let's go back to the present day. I'm turning 180 degrees. Though that was before I read more, I admit that I made a few mistakes. I visited the doctor to get a Chantix prescription, and I'm going to stop while she's away. When I did it the last time, I managed to last for almost 2 months before asking my wife to get me a lighter. I can't do that while she's away from the house. I'm improving myself. I still have hope for a reconciliation because it happened so recently. However, after giving our marriage and her a lot of thought, I'm beginning to feel like maybe this is for the best. Although I'm not there yet, I'm making an effort and will persevere. My actions will eventually determine how I feel. I will proceed with the divorce as I know it is necessary, and I have an appointment scheduled with my attorney for this Friday. Though I don't like the idea right now, I know that if I make the 180-degree turn, I will eventually come around. I cannot permit myself to act in a way that would be inconsistent with her progress. Joy, I wanted to get everything out there, even if it ended up being a lot. I realize I made a mistake, but I'm determined to make up for it, and I'm willing to go the extra mile. If doing so results in a divorce and her permanent loss, that's what has to take place, though. I am aware that my writing does not yet reflect my 180-degree turn. However, what I do for her does. I've deleted all of her images from my computer, cut her out of my contacts, and I'm starting to think that maybe I wouldn't be better off without her. I'm willing to follow through with the activities until my feelings catch up, even if I know it will take some time. I initiated this discussion to get some guidance and support. Although I know it would be difficult, I must do it for myself. I also think that when I have a weak moment, which I probably will, I'll need that kick in the back. I'm sure I'll need to be reminded that this is for me, not for us to make amends. I had intended to phone the OMSW last night, but I became engrossed in a book, and when I looked up, it was too late to make the call, whether or not they are in a group. I refuse to speculate on what might happen. I won't ponder and wonder because I can't alter it. Since my WS's birthday was on the 29th, I agreed that the kids could begin their 1-week vacation with her, so I doubt they are together this week, so long as he was absent. The children agreed that it made sense to be with her on her birthday when I asked them. Friends and relatives have been informed about the affair on both sides. These guys have given me some excellent support. I can understand why her family is supporting her. Water is not as intelligent as blood. She talked with the children on the eve of D-Day, and I didn't feel very well the following day, in my son's words. She went out with a different man. I did refer to it as an affair and let them know how much of a screw-up she was. That's plenty, in my opinion. They don't require the specifics. I sent the OMW a private message on Facebook, and she got in touch with me the following morning. It was challenging. I said exactly that. I'm just going to say it because there's no good way to put it. My wife and your husband are having an affair. Oh my God, I heard. She hung up after dropping the phone. My WW had requested that I not text the OMW because it doesn't affect her. Between the two of us, this is. I told her that since it was recently physical, the OMW needed to know, but if it had been an E, I might have given it more thought. Whether the fog had something to do with my WW's utter detachment, I cannot say. I care now, but hopefully not in the future. About myself, that's the reason I'm here. I started with teeth whitening and the quit smoking program. In order to divert my attention, I've also taken up housework. Water damage to a ceiling was patched. Painted one of our storage closets and cleaned out a few rubbish closets. At 6 feet and 175 pounds, I am not overweight, but I also lack tone. It's an excellent idea to lift. I was fortunate enough to have 3 inches of snowfall the day after it occurred in Minnesota, where I reside. Instead of using the snowblower, I cleared the whole driveway by hand. With the garage pad included, its dimensions would be 150 feet long by 10 feet broad. It was satisfying. I believe that I'm acting appropriately. All we'll need is the day's pass's assistance and direction. She is aware that hour is off the table. Last night, when they came to pick up more goods, her sister texted to make sure I wasn't there. Knowing she would display my W, I answered. W, I'll be here, but I won't obstruct your path. I made the decision to move on as there is nothing I can say or do to make her change her mind. Remarks. Avoid the need to tell her that you want her back. For now, show her total disinterest. Any other action will just serve to motivate her to continue the affair. If she hasn't lost you, she can't experience the loss. Start working out immediately, right now. Give yourself some time to gather your thoughts. Prepare for your future without her by setting goals and starting to take action right now. By doing this now, you'll be ready to go when you decide to start dating again, once the initial heartbreak over all of this has mostly passed. Keep your whereabouts, your companions, and your activities a secret from her. Go all black on her, save from conversations about the children. Submit a divorce and primary custody request. For now, put your kids and yourself first. If you follow all of these steps, I'm betting that she will return in no more than 6 months. Additionally, I venture that you won't be open to reconciliation after that. Updates for Opus. Looking back, I was able to determine that the EIA began when my WS and I were both out of town, me for NCO training for a new firm I was preparing to begin, and her for MD training for her new position. She had recently landed this fantastic job after selling her portion of an enterprise she owned a few months earlier. New employment. We talked about our new adventures for a long time, and I was really proud of her. She also noted that this was a great time in our quick texts from the day following D-Day. The problem is, I seem to recall her telling me on a few occasions that she felt uncomfortable every time we went out with friends. My business was always the topic of conversation, rather than her new employment. She required the approval. It also clarified the reason behind her high-functioning alcoholism, something that I had been troubled by for a while. I think she drinks because she has low self-esteem. I made several attempts to assist her, but she refused to accept my help. That's a different matter, but I felt compelled to mention it because it played a part in my epiphany, helping me to see that I had been living in my own denial and fog. I was then free to look at the relationship with objectivity and forgive myself. I discovered a great deal of good, but I also discovered a great deal of bad. Equipped with this newfound understanding, I was able to go on to the next stage of healing faster than I had anticipated and state with honesty that it wasn't my fault. Called BW to inquire about her well-being. We didn't speak for too long because she stated she was fine, sounded sad, and had a buddy around. She said she is putting her own needs first, and her children at this moment. She claimed that, although it had nothing to do with me, her heart leaped when she saw my name appear on her phone because it instantly brought back memories. A few minutes later, she texted, indicating that hearing even the slightest mention of WS and WH, or any combination of the two, would be extremely painful. I'll read through my thread again when I have some free time. I am confident that the 2-month change will be amazing, and I could not have done it without all of the fantastic support and assistance I have received from all of you. My comment, I believe the Opus has emerged from his situation. Have you guys prepared a statement for Opus? Remark below, subscribe, and bellow, and never forget that every day is a new day. She wished me peace and healing and expressed her gratitude that I'm feeling better. I responded with a text, saying that I understood and maybe we'll be well enough to communicate again. She'll be alright till then if she needs to call me for anything. This is where assistance is needed. Here's what happened, and I don't want to put the kids in the middle. WW sent me an email. I'll cut and paste. Yes, I'll attempt to search for our February calendar on Google as my attorney stated that's what the courts will ultimately advise. In order for everyone to be on the same page, I wanted to plan out the next 2 weeks as soon as possible. We are unsure if the following will help balance out the next 2 weeks because I am leaving on a week-long trip on Sunday. Children can stay here for 3 more nights this week in exchange for an additional night the following week, until Tuesday, February 6th. After practice, they will be dropped off at home. I may pick them up after practice on February 14th and have them remain with me until Sunday, February 17th, since I return late on Wednesday, February 13th. If they'd like, I can drop them off after dinner or in the late afternoon. President's Day is Monday, February 18th, and there is no school for the children. Son believes that, barring unforeseen circumstances, switching on Sundays is optimal. Tell us if this is successful for you, WS and W. My reply. W. After giving it some thought, I think my first strategy is the best one. I have also missed our children horribly this week, and I need to see them. We always invite your sister and her family to visit us at our home. I apologize if your choice to have an affair has caused you inconvenience. When can I pick up the kids from school tomorrow? BS by reminding her again, I'm not turning around. I suppose I'm still attempting to startle her into consciousness. Going back to the beginning, I continue to find the arrangements to be reasonable. My children haven't seen me in a week, and I do miss them terribly. She made the decision to go and is planning another trip, which is not my fault. Since she and they both enjoy swimming meets, I'm willing to let her participate. The children were on the first email she sent, but they haven't been on any of the others after. The children have not mentioned staying over. My youngster did say that he was excited to see his Sunday arriving uncle. Since the EIA began in June, her training has ended. She works as an account executive and frequently travels to meet with clients. Tonight, I received paperwork. She was quicker than I was. Since Amen is not at blame, the only explanation we can think of is that the marriage has failed. She's consulting with attorneys while I continue to handle the affair. This has long been on her to-do list. The kids are 15 and 13. How could things have swiftly grown so bad? While going through documents to gather evidence for the impending divorce, I came upon a Father's Day card from this year. You are an amazing husband and father, the note added. You don't hear me say that enough. It's a 180 from where I started doing the 180. I must return to my grief for a little while before returning to helping myself. I'm powerless to stop myself. Though I don't feel confident enough to fake it right now, I believed I could pull it off. Right now, I'm not interested in getting this marriage back. Not that I'd want to drag it out. I launched a new business called Massage Studio, which is now losing money but is expected to turn a profit in 3 months. This is partly due to the fact that I've realized how much energy I've been putting on managing her alcoholism. It's a major factor in the reason we no longer go on our much-needed date nights. I would have a terrible evening because she would end up drinking too much. The next morning, not much would stick in her memory. She has a high functional level of dysfunction. Even though she had been plowing the night before, she would be capable of handling all necessary tasks the next day. Years ago, I had had enough of arguing over it and began to gradually distance myself. No matter how painful it is at the moment, this is a method to release yourself and stop enabling. How awful it was, or how bad I let it to get, doesn't matter. It will take some time for me to process because this is all I've known for a long time. That was a bad day, but I believe it was because I needed to give myself a reality check. I found optimism in the accounts I browsed through from others. As I begin to see my STBXW for who she is and has become rather than what I wanted to see, I'm beginning to feel the same way he did. Today I went outside for a little while, went grocery shopping, began reading a book that wasn't about affairs, and shoveled the driveway as exercise, which was unsatisfactory because there wasn't much snow. My dad gave me a call to see how I was doing. We had a nice conversation, and tonight I'm attending a gathering with divorced men. I'm not sure what to anticipate, so perhaps you could give me some advice. They really hit the mark when they said that the feelings are like riding a roller coaster. I hope this is the direction the trend continues. I appreciate everyone's support so much. An affair is practically prearranged. I couldn't notice it without you pointing out some of the apparent things I had missed because it's so new to me. It was a rewarding moment when my phone rang and asked to speak with my STBXW. She provided them with the number of my mother-in-law's residence, as she is no longer at this number. With the kids back at home, we are getting ready for an appetizer night for the Super Bowl. It ought to be enjoyable. I am so much happier now. We had a nice conversation when my brother-in-law, who is the sister's husband and is here for D-Day, dropped them off. In other cases, my STBXW is genuinely speaking up for me, still clinging to most, but protecting some as well. He said, my mother-in-law is also flipping back and forth. I picked up this hate of men from my mother-in-law. She went through a terrible divorce. He was so nasty that on our wedding day, I had to pull her away to persuade her not to call him the jerk for one day. Something similar is happening to my brother-in-law. Not infidelity, but the female members of that family being fixated on something and losing interest in everything else. A tiny part of me harbored the belief that I could be an awful person. I acknowledge my imperfections and am open to improving the areas that need improvement. Simply said, just being more involved, mainly with my children. My STBXW has a fondness for swimming, and the kids are adept at it as well. I had rationalized that since she was present, I didn't have to be. One thing that will change is that I don't want to see my STBXW right now, so not immediately, but someday. Update, everything is going smoothly. Now that the kids are home and there's less time spent alone, I'm having a blast. A few weeks ago, my kid introduced me to this game, and, since he's returned home, has been giving me advice on what I've been doing incorrectly. We also play with my daughter. Went to counseling once more last night. If I had to diagnose you right now, I would say you have adjustment disorder mixed with anxiety and depression, she stated. Okay, that makes sense. Getting over this will take some time. However, I'm moving slowly. I'm still holding on to the photo of the former me. Well, that individual is lost forever. She's right, I'm beginning to see just how long she has been pushing me away. Years have passed. While there were enjoyable moments mixed in, I can't help but think back on all the things I tried and the times I begged to do things and was told no. She chose, for whatever reason, to be miserable. Nothing that I could have done. Nothing. My STBXW and I haven't spoken since Saturday. She has emailed me twice, one regarding the kids' pool schedule and the other including some financial details. I didn't reply to either of them. All I can do is go day by day. Having the kids home is a huge assistance, and eating and sleeping are no longer problems. In addition, I get some exercise shoveling the driveway because it has snowed every day. I'm still on the stop smoking program, and I've noticed that my cravings are waning. A few things are bothering me. My brother-in-law brought the trash from my STBXW's temporary residence when he visited. I'm bringing it back if she brings it up again, retaliatory or not. There are 2 dogs. We bought one together, and for her 40th birthday, she bought one for herself. Since we got her, that dog has been nothing but trouble. Skin issues, behavioral difficulties, issues with discipline, shouting like wild and running away. I detest the dog so much. She ought to bring the dog to her lodging, in my opinion. In this manner, I can get rid of her, the kids get to spend time with an animal, and she receives a healthy dose of reality. Because of her shitting, the mother-in-law does not want her over there, but in my opinion, that is no longer my problem. Once more, petty and spiteful. The kids said they wanted to keep her, so for the time being, I'm keeping her. I assured them that we would keep her, but I can't help but wonder why my STBXW's decisions have forced me to take care of this past puppy. Ideas. In any case, I'm feeling better every day and I'm doing pretty darn good. Today, I felt really pleased with myself. My STBXW is an extremely go-getter, regardless of whether it's the appropriate thing to do. Less than 2 weeks after D-Day, on Friday, I was served, as those who are following the topic are aware. The child began to stay with me on Sunday. She began emailing me on Sunday night and continued to do so, requesting financial details for the divorce, one of which came from an attorney other than the one who drafted the petition. I'm not sure how to respond to that. I gently reminded her that I had a comparable form from my attorney, so she should fill it out on her own. She inquired about real estate and prior tax returns. I responded that she should have access to all of the information, but I couldn't help her right now because I had more urgent items to handle. It's going to get ugly here. Oh no, the woman I married is where? All I want to do is give her a reality check. Remarks, it's going to become unattractive. You mean it's not unattractive yet? Following her betrayal of you, she told you she wouldn't remove the line from the divorce petition that said you had locked her out of the house. She has been constructing evidence against you from the moment she departed, whether you are aware of this or not. She has given this careful thought. This was part of her plan. You caught her, so now she had to carry out her plan sooner than she had intended. However, she was and still is intending to seriously screw you over. She is collecting information from the children and maintaining a record of all the risky and unhealthy activities you have done. Dad gives them junk food and lets us enjoy ice cream. She is watching for anything that she can use against you. Exercise caution. She is not returning. I'm doing what I did, so here are some pointers. You are conversing with her still. You're still attempting to help her with her issues. You have spent 17 years doing this. Learning not to do that will take time. Send out your emails by typing, then review the text. Take out anything that even slightly relates to you. Send just once you're tidy. Don't talk to the kids about her at all. Call her your mother and use language that distances you emotionally if you must bring her up. It'll assist your heart in catching up. As the opus says, I concur. Over the past few days, I've begun to emerge from my own fog and can now clearly see what I've been ignoring. Over the past few years, I've tried to rationalize away some of the things my wife has said and done that I just couldn't bring myself to believe. It really isn't. My wife is not this person, even though I really miss her. Now that I see it, I'm on the lookout because I know that nothing she says will be credible. It felt amazing to work out. I will continue without a doubt. Things are moving more smoothly now. Exercise has been beneficial. Been going for approximately an hour every other day. The discomfort isn't as awful, and I feel like I'm ready for daily workouts, so I'm going to raise the workout to once a day. I bought some protein powder thing a few days ago. After just 1 week, I feel better about myself. 5 days without touching the lighter as well. It's an initial step. A few days ago, I did break NC with my STBXW. I wanted her to stay at our house, so I told her, from this Friday through Monday, please look after the kids and the pets while I'm away on vacation. I informed her instead of asking, accepting my dominant tendencies a little more these days. Naturally, she replied she would. I gave a loud, awesome, thank you, and that was my response. After our conversation yesterday, my lawyer informed me that she would be filing the petition answer and pursuing the divorce. It's going to be a difficult day. The kids are gone because I dropped them off at school and my STBXW is picking them up. For us, Valentine's Day used to be a wonderful day. It was always a wonderful day for us, regardless of what was going on in our marriage or lives. Since we enjoy cooking together, we would frequently spend time preparing a lavish meal, enjoying dinner and wine, etc. I'm wondering if she left the kids at home and is out with POSOM on this V-Day while I pack for my trip. I suppose I'm pleased with my development in the 26 days since D-Day. I simply want this other person who is living in my wife's body to go away because I miss her so much. It's hard to part after 20 years of dating. I've seen the good and the terrible from those years, and at this moment, I'm willing to go in whichever direction my life leads. We sent emails back and forth about how uncomfortable it was. At last, I lost it and informed her that I shouldn't have to bear the consequences of her errors. After that, I made a list of everything my STBXW had done to me or had twisted since she made the decision to go. The thing that is hurting me is the lack of closure. I started to let loose after reading the previous love story. All I want is answers. Why am I unable to separate? I'd like to. I am aware of her harmful nature. I can see her flaws, but I can't let go of it in my head. More guidance is required. I ran into the girl at the gym again, and we had a great talk. I realized we had previously collaborated when I learned her first name. I found her last name by searching through my email archive. Here's the thing, would it be strange if I sent her an email to find out when she intended to start working out again in the hopes of running into her by chance? I need assistance because I haven't dated in a long. All I need is some female company. Not in a physical sense, I just need someone to chat to. It's challenging to control one's impulses. I'm not sure why, but today was a really anxious day. I was so desperate to talk, text, or phone anyone on my STBXW. I believe that was the result of my 5-day absence from exercise. We had a significant snowfall and were buried in the snow. Exercise seems to have prevented the tightness in my chest. I just want things to get over with and move on because I'm kind of lonely. Updated after 1 month. She's not the first person I think of when I wake up, which is a clear sign that I'm recovering. Actually, most days it takes me many hours to think of her. We had to attend a function together one day last week, and I really wanted her to look terrible. She didn't. She looked very decent. In fact, I don't feel too horrible because that was just one night out of many. It won't likely ever be 100% of the time. Exercise is beginning to pay off. I think I was overtraining, therefore I've dropped down to 3 times a week. I had a lot of anger to let go of. I've been asked if I've been working out by around a dozen individuals in the last week alone. They claim that it is evident. My attention at work is pretty good, and I'm starting to regain my confidence. I created a Match account. I forget which one it was, but it was a physician. I'm not ready for anything other than company right now. Simply said, not there yet. I have had a lovely conversation with a divorcee for the last 4 days. We seem to have a lot in common, and she often comes to mind in the morning instead of my STBXW. That genuinely terrifies me. The good news is that she won't be returning home until July, and she now resides roughly 100 miles away. That will prevent me from making a foolish decision. I understand it's too soon because I've read about rebound relationships. I am aware that before anything more than talking occurs, I need more time. Additionally, the distance will be beneficial. She is still unaware of my struggles. I suspect she may have experienced the same thing, but it's too soon to bring that up. Her profile contains a statement that says, "Don't bother replying if you have a history of being unfaithful." That's the only thing that makes me feel bad. Keeping it from her. Well, not just yet. She's also 7 years my junior in high school. Years younger than myself, yet still perfectly acceptable. With buddies, I've been going out a lot. I will regrettably miss the hockey season, which is almost ended. WCH Lawyers this coming weekend. It ought to be amazing. Yes, Monday was a great day for me. After school, my daughter stayed and was given a lift home by the parent of one of her girlfriends. It so happened that I arrived home when she was being dropped off. It took me a mere second to hear my daughter's friend telling her dad when I got out of the car, "I want to embrace him." She did, too. That really made my day. I had no idea how much a hug would help, and from an unexpected source. In any case, things seem to be getting better every day. The divorce is going forward. Right now, we are debating which mediator to employ. About 2% of me will still reconcile if it happens miraculously, but for now, that is off the table. There are far too many critical elements in my STBXW for her to be open to changing. Thank you to everyone who gave me such excellent advice early on. Time has allowed me see things clearly. Ray will read my thread when I get a moment. I am confident that the 2-month change will be amazing, and I could not have done it without all of the fantastic support and assistance I have received from all of you. My comment, I believe the Opus has emerged from his situation. Have you guys prepared a statement for Opus? Remark below, subscribe, and bellow, and never forget